What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. I had a question here from Mr. B2010, and he asks, how easy is it to switch industries? I might start in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, aka HVAC, but I'm also interested in biomedical and aerospace. So the first thing to get into, thanks for the question, by the way, and the first thing to really understand and get out of the way is, what do we mean by industry? By industry, we are talking about aerospace, right? You mentioned one of them, Mr. B. And then we also have the oil and gas industry. We have the automotive industry. We have the naval industry, construction. So there's a lot of areas, there are a lot of, those are the main industries that I can think of where engineers are needed. Now, within those industries, we have different domains. And by domains, I mean, we're talking about heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. We're talking about structural. We have power generation, transmission, manufacturing, testing, project management. So we have the industries, and then within each industry, we have these domains. And the domains are kind of interchangeable. They're not kind of, they are interchangeable. For instance, you could do HVAC for an aerospace company or in the aerospace industry in general. And you could also do HVAC in the oil and gas industry. You could do also HVAC in the naval industry and construction. So these domains are the ones that could take you to many different industries, assuming you will be doing the same thing. You will be performing your role as an engineer in the same domain. Now, the way I personally see it when it comes to your question, the difficulty of switching industries is going to depend on the level of contrast that you have. Not so much between the industries themselves, but between the domains. For example, it's going to be easier to go from HVAC in aerospace to do HVAC in the naval industry or in the automotive industry. You're still going to be doing HVAC. However, if you want to change from HVAC and you want to go from that to doing power generation, or from power generation into manufacturing, then the level of contracts is going to be much higher, and therefore it's going to be a little more difficult. But as I will point out in a few seconds, not impossible. So stay with me here for a second to the end of this video so that I can actually tell you exactly what I mean. Now, with respect to your question, you say that you want to start with HVAC, and then you are also interested in biomedical and aerospace. So as I mentioned a little earlier, what do you want to do in the biomedical and aerospace industries? What is it that you want to do exactly? Do you still want to do HVAC? Because technically speaking, you could do HVAC and go straight into the aerospace industry, because guess what? Aircraft need HVAC systems, right? They need heat and ventilation and air conditioning. That's the bottom line. So technically, you could go into the aerospace industry already, and also into the biomedical. I mean, what exactly is it that you want to do in the biomedical industry? So those are some questions that you definitely need to ask yourself and do a little bit more research so that you can identify what exactly is it that you want to do in your goal. Now, let's talk about transferable skills, because at the end of the day, your technical skills are great, and a lot of the times they are very specific to your job. And unless you want to keep doing the same job or something fairly similar in another industry, if you want to be doing HVAC in aerospace and automotive, then the change is really not going to be that, what would you say? It's not going to be that crazy, for lack of a better word. But if you want to change domains per se, if you want to go from HVAC to power generation, or you want to maybe go into biomedical and do something completely different than HVAC, then here are some transferable skills that I can show you and tell you about. Assuming you are designing an HVAC component, whatever that happens to be, whether it's a compressor or evaporator, maybe you're just designing overall HVAC systems for a building and whatnot. So here are some transferable skills that you can highlight on your resume, or that, from my perspective, I don't know exactly what you want to do with HVAC itself, because it also has different levels, different layers where you can focus. Again, it's really going to be depending on your job, so I'm just throwing some ideas out here. One of the transferable skills, number one, is project management. When it comes to project management, do you deal with cost? Do you deal with money when it comes to your design of your components? Do you save any money? Also, when it comes to project management, scheduling. Did you meet your deadlines? Did you deliver drawings or your products within a schedule? Were you late? Yes, no. Also, when it comes to meeting technical requirements, did you lead any engineers, any projects? What was the budget of your project? What was the schedule? What was the priority of your project? So all these different things that I just mentioned are part of project management skills. And these are things that you could highlight on your resume that can be valuable anywhere, wherever you go, anywhere you go. Another transferable skill that I can think of right now is logistics. If you're looking for parts, if you're researching parts, if you're looking at cost, if you're looking at delivery, if you are organizing how something is going to be put together, how different vendors are going to be interacting, that's logistics. So if you actually worked on some of this, then make sure that you also highlight it on your resume. The third transferable skill that I want to mention here, again, this is going to be depending on what you're doing within HVAC, but it could also be manufacturing. Maybe you are manufacturing a specific part for an HVAC component, or at least maybe you were involved in it. Maybe you were providing the drawings to the manufacturer. So you could highlight manufacturing skills on your resume as a transferable skill. 3 more transferable skills that I have for you here that you could highlight on your resume. Leadership skills. I know it's like we're beating the dead horse, right? Oh my God, leadership skills, blah, blah, blah. Yes, they are very valuable, and a lot of companies look for people who can lead. We're talking about, did you establish any procedures in your company for your specific system? Maybe test procedures or standard operating procedures. Maybe you led board meetings with clients, giving updates. That's communication skills. That's a sign of leadership skills. Also, did you solve any specific problems you ran into? That's part of leadership skills. It shows creativity. It shows that you're being proactive and you're actually out there to make things happen when you solve a specific problem, especially big ones that you run into when you're in the process of designing something. Number 5, programming. If you dealt with a specific software that is also used in other industries, or maybe you're just good at programming in general, a lot of the times the same philosophy of learning a specific program or a specific software is the same that is used to learn other software. For example, if you're very good at MATLAB, for instance, then the chances of you learning Python or learning Java it's going to be a little easier than somebody that's not familiar with programming at all. And maybe I dare to say the same thing when you have 3D modeling software knowledge. You could learn different 3D modeling software because you already have a background and you already have an idea of how they work. Now, the last thing that I want to mention here, the last transferable skill that I can think of is teamwork. How many people did you lead? Did you lead any people when you were working on your HVAC component or HVAC design or whatever it is that you're involved in? How many people did you work with? If you led anyone, or maybe you work with different people. So teamwork is very, very important. Communication, leadership skills, manufacturing, logistics, project management. So these transferable skills, guys, these transferable skills are going to help you lessen the impact to a potential pay cut that you may experience when you go from one domain to another. So why would you take a pay cut? What do I mean by this? Well, when you are actually in one domain for years, you start developing a lot of really nitty-gritty specific experience and wisdom into that specific domain. And if you actually switch later on in life, then when you switch to another domain, that new domain is not going to pay you as much as the other domain was paying you, because technically you're kind of starting over. And so you may have to take a pay cut when you transfer. So the earlier you do it, the better, because as opposed to taking a $5,000 to $10,000 pay cut, if you transfer after 10 years or 20 years, if you want to switch industries, then you may have to take a $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 pay cut, and no one really likes that. That's why a lot of people feel stuck after spending 10, 15, 20 years in one specific domain. They hate it, they don't like it, but at the same time, they can't really switch, because a switch would mean that they will have to take a pay cut because the new domain is not willing to pay them as much as they're getting paid currently. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Make sure that you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you found this helpful in any way. All right, thanks guys. Peace.